Welcome to the Courage Never Quits podcast, where members of the West Point class of 1986 tell their stories. I'm your host, Paul LaFontaine. As always, the views expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and not of West Point, the Army, or any organization. Let's go to the podcast. The Chicks of 86, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, PLAF. Glad to be here.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
It's like I'm sitting in the presence of royalty. This is right here. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. For 15 years, the Chicks of 86 have been getting together reliably all over the country. A terrific effort in terms of getting the camaraderie of the class of 86 going, and certainly what a tremendous group. So we're here to talk about the founding of it and the history of it, and maybe some funny stories or two, because we have to one up the Glee Club, because the Glee Club kind of, and they told some pretty good stories. So we're going to have to take it up a notch here to make sure we get the Glee Club going. So, but let's talk first about where you all are. Julie, where are you sitting today? What's going on with you?
I am in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So hanging out. I retired a couple of years ago, and
Okay.
The best job I've ever had is my retirement job. So I'm for it. Having fun, just relaxing, taking it easy. Trying to keep my body moving. That's my goal. So
Yeah. On the org chart, I'm a couple blocks over on the retired chart, so I agree. It's a pretty good gig. So, MaryEllen, how about yourself?
So I'm in Ashburn today at home, Ashburn, Virginia. And like Julie, I retired in March. So best job I've ever had as well is retirement. So I'm spending time kind of reconnecting or better connecting with my husband, my kids, friends, and just having a good time.
Terrific. And Carolyn, how about you?
Well, today I am in Cache, Oklahoma, which is near Fort Sill, and I still work, and I normally am based in the Houston, Texas area, and I go between Houston and Austin, Texas.
Okay, great. I've spent some time in Houston. My son was born in Houston, so close to our family's heart anyway. So terrific. The Chicks of 86, 2010 it was the starting point of the Chicks, which is quite early because we think back to where we all were in 2010. We were all kind of running around with our heads down, pretending to be important and busy. Certainly a different state of life, right? So talk about the founding of the Chicks of 86. What was going on?
So I think, well, I know I was working at our Association of Graduates at West Point, and
Okay.
I just remember Julie calling me, and Julie and I have been friends since our cadet days. Julie called me and told me about her sister who was in the class of 82 and how the women of 82 were getting together every year for a little mini reunion. So she kind of was like, well, why don't we do that and kick this off? So I had all the tools to get that going at the AOG with website and registration and email lists and all that kind of stuff. And Julie had a lot of connections in the class. So that's my sort of recollection on how the whole thing started.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That was kind of the genesis of it. And I think I was especially motivated because in 2009, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And so I was motivated to say, all of these folks were an important part of my life. And, I was feeling kind of, this is not the funny part of the story, feeling
Sure.
like I didn't know if I was going to be around. We need to make extra effort to see each other. And so fortunately, I am still around, so that all turned out well.
And
But,
we're delighted.
But yeah, so that was kind of the kind of idea. Obviously, my sister's class was doing it. I thought it was pretty cool. And with MaryEllen being at West Point, she made it really easy for us to kind of connect everybody and get things moving administratively. I actually had probably my least favorite thing is I have a really great idea and then somebody else makes it happen. So,
Right.
I usually in meetings, and all of us have been there. Oh, I've got a really great idea. And then they kind of like look at you and go, can you make that happen? So, but fortunately we had a great team and everybody kind of pitched in and
There's a
made
sad
it happen,
truth that
so.
we in the class are usually gathered in groups and someone says, hey, why don't we do X? And then somebody else will say, where's MaryEllen? Right. So
Yeah, unfortunately, MaryEllen is she proves her worth, and here's my favorite thing about MaryEllen. She does the impossible, and then everybody goes, oh well, that's just the
MaryEllen.
norm. Let's just do that again, and they have no idea of what it took to make it happen. So
that's right. She's a treasure. She's a treasure. Now, Carolyn, I understand you have a level of organizational skill that really helped propel things. When did you join the crew?
You know, I don't know. I think so. The Bradenton one, the first one, Patty Medina did all of that, and I think MaryEllen was like, "You need to come to this," so I just signed up. And who's going to turn down a trip to Florida? And Hope Donnelly, you know, was in that area, and Hope was one of my roommates, so I know it was a great opportunity, you know, to see her as well. What I remember about the Bradenton one was it was Patty and some guy named Frank. So it was like all these women and Frank on everything.
What an inauspicious beginning.
And I just remember everybody's like, who's this Frank guy, you know? But he was
Frank
fun.
was never heard from again.
He was fun. And I think he was a colleague or friend of Patty Medina Harris. And Patty, like every smart chick of 86, leveraged Frank to set up a lot of the local stuff. But then
Absolutely.
Frank joined us, right? He's joined us on the Sunset Cruise. And we were then went from the Sunset Cruise to a dinner at a restaurant, and we were in a private room, and Frank was kind of hanging out. And Julie and I were just giving each other looks like, you're going to, you know, Frank, you making your exit now or what?
Hey, Frank, read the room.
Yeah.
I mean,
Frank, I should have hazed you when I had the chance, man.
Yes.
Frank had the beer on the boat, though, so he was very important.
That's
all I got
well.
to say.
That is true.
There you go.
Frank was very helpful.
Part of the Genesis story, right? That's great. And Patty's a lot of fun. I keep in touch with her as well through the podcast. So what a terrific idea, Julie, though, like taking something that another class is doing and then just taking and running with it and improving it. I think that's a tremendous way to get ideas, because we're not the only class with a desire to get together, and you just took that and ran with it. So do you ever hear the story about how the class 82 came up with the idea, or they just organically did it?
You know, I don't know who started it for them. They started doing it a couple years, I think, before we did, but I honestly don't know kind of who started it. They're still doing it like we're still doing it. So
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I looked at the pictures ahead of time just to see if we'll see if we're absolutely going to be careful not to forget anyone. But I looked at all of them. You had 15 in the picture from San Antonio in 2012, then actually 22 in 2024 and 20 in 2025. So that's incredible staying power. So it's been a good sized group the whole time.
Yeah, I think our biggest one was in Washington, D.C., and that was probably just because of the location and so many women in the D.C. area, and also just the two airports and easy travel. But that one, I think we had about 35. And some of those photos we sent you, PLAF, we just, you know, we might not have had everybody at the same time. So I'd say we averaged like around 24 per gathering. And if we looked at a class roster of the chicks, probably 40 to 50%, maybe 50 is a little too high. 40% of us have come to at least one gathering, right? Does that sound about right, ladies?
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Yeah. What one comment I would make is, and this is, I think, if you've gone to all of them, and I haven't gone to all of them, I've been to most of them, but when someone new comes, like, I think they're like really kind of nervous at first, but then it's kind of like, just be who you are, and, you know, no judgment on anything. And it's you're reconnecting with people maybe you kind of knew at West Point, but, you know, everybody's a different person than when they were 18, 20 years old. And I think every person that was maybe hesitant to come, I feel like they all had like a really great time, and those are some of our returnees. So we've kind of built on the population of ladies that join us. That's what I think has been really special. Like when someone new comes, it's kind of fun to watch how they react and listen to all of our stories.
You lower that the kind of that initial experience, and so the next year it's automatic that you come back. I still get nervous when I go to reunions. It sounds crazy, right? But you just don't know, right? As you go in.
Yeah, I think that's a really perfect comment, Carolyn, because I think that part's really important. And we've had several people come, oh, I didn't want to come, but then, I came, and now it's totally not what I thought it would be. And I think everybody has that feeling in their chest. My niece is back at West Point right now, and her husband are class of 2016. And I went and visited them in September, and her husband was like, and my niece, my family's like weird, like West Point's a school for girls. My niece and that's my sister's daughter,
right,
and her dad are both graduates. So everybody in the family went to West Point, and her husband is like, he's like, oh, Julie, how you doing? Do you love being at West Point too? Like he was, because that side of the family was like, oh, it's the best place ever. I said, no, actually, when I drove in the gate, my chest was tight and I felt like I was going to throw up. And he's like, oh, thank God. He goes, a normal one. Where'd you come from? And he gives me a big hug. So, I mean, that feeling never leaves you. We're 60.
It was like right when we were 18 to 22, nervousness was bred. It was just absolutely pounded into us. So I've just now gotten to where I could actually go to the grounds and not have that feeling in my chest.
Exactly. So I think that feeling, along with, any other, doubts you had, and Carolyn's right, we're different people than we were when we were 18, but you still feel like, oh, everybody's going to feel that way. But, we don't do that. We try to just say, this is a time to have fun and relax and enjoy yourself.
Well, now with the genius of the format is that you've removed West Point from the equation. So you have all these locations that advantage some people in some years because it's closer to where they are, and then some folks have to travel, and then vice versa. How do you choose the locations?
Yeah, so usually at the mini reunion, we try to find a volunteer who will set up the next one in her location or in a city of her choosing. And so we're trying to make these affordable to everybody. So we've learned, the secret sauce really is to have it near a major airport. We've gotten to where we're doing these now instead of in hotel room blocks at Airbnbs. And really the key is we need like somebody on the ground on site to sort of set a few things up for us. But really we keep the formula very simple, and the chicks really just want a lot of time lounging and telling stories and catching up with each other. So it's not like we have activity after activity, and it's really not that difficult to pull together.
Now, was the 35th reunion for the class inspired by this format? Because I can't help but think that the 35th had a lot of these characteristics, right? It was a place near an airport. We all got together. Just curious.
Yeah, so I can speak to that as the reunion co-chair.
Sure. Well, I figured you'd know.
Yeah. So for Dallas, in 2021, what happened there was the Army Air Force game was announced as being played in Dallas at the right for the first time, and then West Point wasn't going to make a decision on hosting class reunions at West Point until later in the summer because of COVID, and COVID was still lingering, and big events were not necessarily good yet. So anyway, we did some like little surveying in the class, and we just decided, you know what, we're not going to wait for West Point for this one. Let's go to Dallas. And Roger wrote a letter to the soup and AOG and just sort of explaining our decision, and everybody kind of got behind it. And then a bunch of other classes moved their reunions to Dallas as well. So
okay. But people rave about that because it takes advantage of the principle that you just mentioned that you all have been taking advantage of since 2010, where you can go, and I love the one picture where you're all sitting by the pool and people have their shoes off, and it just completely conveys how relaxed the whole thing is in terms of the ability to get together and not be stressed the whole time.
It's very
I
chill.
love it. So we will never talk about anything negative on the podcast because this is a podcast for families. So who's other than Emmy is out of the equation? It can't be MaryEllen. Who really distinguished themselves and put together a great program?
Oh, you mean at a specific?
In terms of, because you guys rotate the duties, right? Who's in charge? So who really is an exemplar of like putting together a really great one?
I think they're all great in different ways.
Sure.
But one that I will say from there's been several that are great. I don't know that I can pick one. I think Brant did a great job in Nashville. But she's in the FBI, so she probably was like packing heat, going around organizing stuff, and whatever she did to. Yeah, so I mean, she had additional, literally firepower to make sure that
right.
But
and Nashville's a city that is well tuned to entertain, right? They've made it a part of their culture there that you go there to have your parties. What were some other really good ones?
All of us wearing sashes and cowboy hats and Daisy Dukes were probably just kidding.
Who picks the themes? Come on now, there's themes every year. Who picks the themes? How do those emerge? Do those happen spontaneously, or does someone say, okay, there's going to be a cowboy theme?
Oh, well, that's the thing. At each of these in recent years, I would say probably the last, I don't know, MaryEllen, how many years, there's always some kind of theme related to the city that we're going to.
Okay, it's related to the city.
So there's always something that, Nashville had that. I mean, San Antonio had some stuff, including tequila. That was important.
Oh, yeah.
Close to the border.
The tequila story from San Antonio is very memorable, I think.
Well, here we are. Let's dive in.
Okay.
It was the Riverwalk.
San Antonio, Carolyn.
I remember. So Lori Fleming did a great job on that, and
yes.
If you're, I've lived in Texas a lot, so San Antonio is a lot of fun. That river. So we stayed very near the Riverwalk, and the first night we went down to the Riverwalk and I think ate somewhere, and then of course on the Riverwalk there's lots of establishments to have cocktails.
Right.
So I remember ending up at some bar, and Julie DelGiorno started ordering all these shots.
Well, and that's why we've called you here today.
I know we're 8 and 4 for that.
And so this was like Friday night, the very first night, right. and I had a major hangover on Saturday, and my husband, because we lived in Houston at the time, my husband was with me, and he was just like, "What the hell did you guys do last night?" Because I was like so like not feeling well. Let's just put it that way. But it was all Julie DelGiorno doing those shots of tequila is what I remember.
And I don't know if you remember this, but the tequila was good. That was true. But the funniest part of that whole night was Karen Turner we were all there, and Karen Turner was there, and these guys that were they in the Air Force and Army? It
was a cougar thing,
yeah,
right?
They were Spec 4s, these Spec 4s, PFCs. I don't know what they were. They were there. And they came up to our table and they were like, "Oh, who is this lovely cougar?" And they were talking about Kat.
Little did they know.
I was like, "You're right, brother. She's hot. I mean, there's no doubt about that." But what we were laughing about was, I mean, when was San Antonio? I mean, what were we? 30 years older than these guys. And
I think it was pre-Allen for Kat too. Is all I got to say.
That's right. That's right, Carolyn. But I mean, so we just were dying laughing, and they had a great time. So
this was in 2012. So there was still there's still a little heat on the ball back 2012. Yep. We were all late 40s, and the nights were a little longer back then.
That's right.
Available to us anyway.
Yeah, nowadays we're in bed at like 9:30, 10 p.m. and I haven't seen a shot at one of these minis in a little while.
Right.
we literally have to queue up glory days when we have to.
Right.
Maybe we need to go back to the Riverwalk.
I think we do.
Yeah.
We can have everybody rest up.
The bedtime, right? So 2012, like 2 a.m. and you can see it going to 2025. Well.
Yeah, by that time we had bounced back. And I will just say in reference to Carolyn's husband being along, there is only one hard, fast rule at Chicks of 86 mini reunions, and that is you cannot bring your husband, your partner, your kids. So Rod was sequestered in the hotel room, and we did not see, one sight of him the entire weekend.
A very important lesson was learned after Frank.
Yeah.
That was it. Frank's the limit. So what is the itinerary generally? What's the shape of it?
Well, generally we get there on we've extended out to Thursday evenings now, I think. So we get there on a Thursday. Folks kind of come in. We'll have probably the first event is a dinner on Thursday night. Am I right, guys? And then we'll and some people don't arrive till Friday, but we kind of there are some staggered arrivals, but there's a dinner Thursday night. Then we have an event on Friday. We'll probably have a couple of events if people want to get up and have breakfast together. That's usually in the place that we rent. You guys can chime in as well. And then there's a couple choices of things that we do during the day. Another dinner Friday night, kind of the same drill on Saturday, events. And we generally have events during the day and then meet back at the location where we're staying for a dinner together. And then we depart on Saturday. Now after dinner, we hang out. I think in Florida, didn't we watch the classic '79 movie Women at West Point? With Linda Pearl, and who was the Hardy Boys guy? Parker Stevenson, was that?
Oh man, that's a classic.
So yeah, I don't know how we happened on that movie, but
that's terrific.
I think I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry laughing. One of my favorite quotes of all time. Kristen French, the general, said, I watched this movie. It's the reason I wanted to go to West Point. And Tanya Davis says, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't see this movie. I never would have gone to West Point. So it was like my favorite, dichotomy of all time. The two ends of the spectrum. And it just, that is the Chicks. That's it right there in a nutshell.
Now we know that
yes.
Parker Stevenson was like rocket fuel to get Kristen into West Point. Of course, she had a very successful career. So Parker, we'll always, that's our start. We'll just keep that amongst us, though. That's terrific. That's great. So a couple of events. Did you do tours? What are the favorite events you all like to do?
In Nashville, we did a trolley tour, and our bus driver narrated the trolley, driver narrated the tour as he did it. And somehow it was all women, of course, on the trolley. It was a private tour. He picked us up at our Airbnb, and but he called us from the start boss lady. So the entire boss ladies. So his entire talk for the whole tour was, all right, boss ladies, here's such and such. And it just was, we were thrilled to be recognized as boss ladies, weren't we?
It does. It is pretty clear from no matter how close you are. Anyway, everyone except Frank and those Air Force guys didn't quite get what they were getting into there.
And then in DC, I forget what year that was. I think 2015. Mike, our classmate Mike Pompeo, was a congressman at the time, and so he very graciously set us up with his staffers for a tour of the Capitol, and we got a glimpse and a photo of him at the end of our tour, I think, and we were in his office, sprawling out on his
sitting in his desk.
Yes, and taking all kinds of photos that we didn't share with you, PLAF, in Mike's office. Right. That was memorable. We also did a great
pub crawl.
Trivia pub crawl. So Julie had set that up, and that was really a lot of fun.
That's terrific.
Yeah, we ended up seeing Mr. Pompeo. He was exiting the Benghazi hearings, and he made a point to come out and see us during our tour. But His office was really, really great to work with. I can't say enough about that because I coordinated that. And we got like a VIP tour of the Capitol, which was really cool.
That's great. Good for Mike for being gracious in that way. That's super. What so Las Vegas I see on the list here. So you're going to go to DC, you get to see the cupola. So does somebody live in Las Vegas, or do you all just decide, okay, we're going big? What was it, 2014? We're going big. What was the process there?
So
that was our 50th birthday.
Yeah. So we decided we were all turning 50 pretty much that year.
Yeah.
So we all said, let's do Vegas. And I think we had nobody on site. So I think that was another one where Julie, Carolyn, and I kind of just pulled it together. And
somebody did help coordinate that. I'm drawing a blank.
Okay, but it was really the 50th. You guys wanted to really take it up a notch and go to Vegas.
Yes.
So Muriel helped getting Las Vegas put together.
Yes.
Basically, well, that's great.
I'm sorry. Are we even saying her name right?
MaryEllen.
MaryEllen. Yeah. She lives in Seattle. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that one we were relatively tame for Vegas, honestly, but we had some fun. We almost got kicked out of the Bellagio buffet because we were laughing so loudly.
We actually got shushed in the Bellagio buffet.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm actually kind of proud of that.
That shows there are limits to being the boss lady, right? Things you can't get away with.
We won't name the individual, but an individual told us a story, and it was someone who you would quiet, mild mannered,
dancing with the stars is what I remember.
Yeah, I mean, you would never say, we name certain names. You know who you are, Lissa Young, and you name certain names, and it's like, yeah, totally believable. Got it. Yep, that happened. I have, you're not making that up. That's true. That's a true story. But this person was one that told us the story, and I literally couldn't breathe. I mean, it was
Lissa almost got you kicked out of the
No. You're not getting the subtle point she's making. Say it again, Julie.
The person that told us the story, I did not think that this would have happened with this person. So yes, it was. So it was a great night, and it was a great story, and it was good, and it was funny, and it was memorable, but it was also showed how lonely and without support it could be for people as well that we weren't really aware of. So I think it was on both sides of the spectrum of that's the greatest story I've ever heard, and it did make us laugh, and the person laughed, but there was also the other side of it for all of us to understand and hear as well. So
so I think one of the reasons that we all enjoy these mini reunions so much is because some of us weren't really great friends at West Point, and we didn't really have that opportunity as, there were only 96 women. We were pretty spread out in the core. And that story in Las Vegas did have a side of like loneliness and isolation to it that we all, I think, could relate to. So, I think this has brought our mini reunions have really brought us a lot closer than we were when we were cadets.
So how do you all maintain the connections outside? Do you have a WhatsApp group, or is it just basically once a year you all come together?
Well, we come together once a year. We have a Chicks of 86 Facebook page, but there's probably only, a third, maybe 40% of us on it, just like our 86 class page. And so we kind of know we're going to gather once a year, and except for class reunion years. So, we likely won't gather in 2026. The Chicks won't, but we'll do something at the reunion, have a breakfast or something like that together, and then pick it back up in 27.
We want to make sure not exclude anybody, but who are some of the main characters that have been there the whole time? So Carolyn, you mentioned you were there in Bradenton. Certainly Julie and Emmy, you were there. So who's been there all the way through? You had some mainstays?
The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, the Breakfast Club usually shows every year. So Breakfast Club is Wilma Larson,
Okay.
Wendy Coddington, Wanda
Okay.
Cohen,
Wanda.
Brant Kinder, right?
Yep.
All right.
And my plebe roommate Elena King and Jill Riley. What's Jill's maiden name?
Spangler.
Jill married
Spangler.
Jill Spangler Riley. So Jill married Chris Riley, who was our classmate, and Jill and Elena always come. Elena helps me remember what happened plebe year because I can't remember most of it. She remembers every detail.
Elena,
It is amazing. Some people do, right?
it was hilarious. Elena and Rhonda Barish Bright is in
Rhonda.
in
Yes,
the group
yeah.
with
Rhonda.
Elena. So there's little factions amongst
Yeah.
because it's always nice to go to one of these things with a battle buddy, I guess. Makes it sometimes a little bit easier to, unless you're one of the real old regulars. I think it helps sometimes to go, particularly to your first one. But Rhonda, because of these Chicks of 86 things, Rhonda was inducted into the Army Sports Hall of Fame, just like Julie. Julie, I think, is one of our original
Yes, she is.
inductees, right? But Rhonda was inducted, I think, in 2021, and we got a great group of chicks to be there in support of her. And that probably wouldn't have happened if we hadn't been doing these mini reunions for a while. So that was great.
It's great. She was on the marksmanship team. Is that what they called it?
Yep.
Yeah,
And then,
rifle, I think.
Rifle team.
Rifle, yeah.
Julie was a basketball standout Hall of Famer.
Studette.
Yeah, and our classmate Rick Shelton is also in the Hall of Fame. Pistol.
There you go.
And Donnie Smith.
And Pam Pearson.
Yes.
Pam as well. Yeah. Bobby Lockett was on the podcast talking about how Pam Pearson really stuffed it. Did you ever get a chance to really knock the ball down on Bobby? Because
Bobby has the best stories ever because Pam Pearson, whooped up on him in basketball. And then he tells an unbelievable story where he's from in East St. Louis. Jackie Joyner Kersey is from his home area. And they went to the same Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I can get my ass kicked by women like my
whipped up on him too.
I'm like, well, these are all Americans and Olympians, Bobby. So it's okay. Pam,
well, I heard he played a game of horse one time and lost to Catherine Ann Stewart Kelly.
Kathy is another.
No, he only focuses on the famous ones, but
okay.
He was out there hitting 3-pointers all day.
I got your back, Bobby. Don't listen to PLAF. I got you.
Kathy is another.
Yes.
Kathy is another regular.
Line, I'm telling you.
Anyway. Kathy's another one of our regulars.
She is, yeah. That's why
I will just say, Bobby Lockett, tried to get in on the action. I think when we were in San Antonio, he lived there at the time, and some of the ladies on departure day on Sunday, when everybody was departing, some of the ladies went over to his house, and I think he hosted them for chicken and waffles, or something.
It was a brunch.
It's just like a tour of the Capitol, having chicken and waffles with Bobby Lockett. Same thing, right? I don't know why we chose to pick on him today, but he's just like the right guy to do, right? So I saw Chris Bauer on several of them.
Chris is there a lot, and she hosted in Chicago, and that was great fun. I think we got in trouble on that tour bus too. We have trouble on the tour buses.
We do have trouble.
What happened on the tour bus that you guys got in trouble?
I don't know. Were we singing? I don't know that we got in trouble, but we did.
Well, I mean, Rick James's Super Freak came on, and
yes, thank you.
Classic 80s tune. So we all just broke out singing and dancing. It was crazy.
That's allowable, though. That's hard to resist, right? I mean, come on. I just saw Chris when I was up in Chicago. She's doing great. What? So just it sounds like you all have a noise problem. You all tend to laugh too loud or sing too much. Would that be a good assessment?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
We have a loud group.
Anybody get in real trouble on these things, or you all keep it pretty straight and narrow, right? Any real, police
No,
get
I
involved?
think we're of the generation, having worked at colleges and universities after my career, after my military life. We're all of us, and when I say we're much better at watching out for our buddies and making sure that no one gets in any real trouble with.
Good. Yeah.
You know, that's I think didn't get passed down to the other generations, but I think we were
Right.
pretty skilled at that, especially skilled.
But to
Definitely.
be fair, you had a free pass in Nashville. You could have really torn it up. You had an FBI cover there.
We did, yeah. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
Brand's
You know.
probably glad that we didn't do anything that she had
Yeah,
to come
I
rescue
know.
us from. But
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
she was on guard duty on the sofa, I think, in the Airbnb.
Well, I think, first of all, such credit to you all for sustaining this for so many years. And it's now a part of your, it's got to be almost habitual. It's like everybody looks forward to it. You don't even have to try to get momentum on it. It has its own momentum. But I think it's a model for a format that we could all take advantage of in terms of, we can do smaller versions of it around certain areas of interest. Mini reunions are quite the thing. So how do you mechanically get this together? Do you all use Airbnbs or hotels? Like, what are things that make it easier to do? And I ask because it'd be interesting for other people who want to get a golf group together or a battlefield tour group together that can just take advantage of your experience.
Well, let me see. So we try to plan things and price them like inclusive of everything. So having some type of a sign up where you can make selections of what you want to participate in
Mm-hmm.
and then pay up front, right? So like making that really easy, like not going to a restaurant with 30 people and splitting the check is kind of what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So kind of so planning the how much it costs part and putting that in some web-based application for people to sign up. I think that makes it easier. And then we always kind of try to do like a survey to kind of, ask people what they want to do and then make the events in line with that. And then another challenge always, guys might not have this, but girls do, is like on these Airbnbs, it's like the rooms, the beds and bathrooms, right?
Yeah.
So, making sure you kind of understand how many beds are you going, are they bunk beds? Are they king beds? Are they queen beds? And how do you divvy up the bedrooms and bathrooms? That's always kind of a little bit of a puzzle to work out.
Yeah. No.
And
guys have aged into that now. So try to get 6 60-year-olds together and say to two of them you got to share a room. It becomes a thing. So trust me, it's
and then I think the date. I mean, life is busy for everybody,
Yeah.
and it's always a challenge to pick the date. And then you pick the date and you stick with it, and then you hope that people have enough time to arrange their life around it. Those are my comments.
So that might actually be a key tip, right? Pick the date and stick with it. Because so many people try to accommodate everything, and next thing you know, it dies of its own momentum. Julie, what do you think is some of the tips you could give to other people who try to get this type of thing together?
yeah, I think Carolyn kind of covered it. I think one of the things that that is really important, I think the date, and MaryEllen is best at this, and I fell victim to it this year and didn't make it to Seattle, and I'm still kicking myself. Karen, Kat did a great job out there, and it looks like everybody had an awesome time. I let life get in the way, and MaryEllen always says, life gets in the way, make the commitment, you're going. And I didn't follow that this year, and I let life get in the way. So I'm not going to do that again. But I think it's really important to pick the date, make a commitment, say I'm going, and stick with that. Because it is easy to say, oh, I've got all this other stuff happening,
Yeah.
and it would just be, it's easier if I don't go. But don't pick that easier path. I think that it always is a riot. It's a fun time. I'm always glad when I go, and even though you have a lot of stuff piling up, and and you're
Sure.
trying to make it happen. So
It's the harder right.
yeah,
The harder right. That's right. It's the harder right.
well said, Mary.
So, MaryEllen, you're like you are a master at these kind of events and everything. What have you noticed that works well? And with the spirit of other people wanting to do this kind of thing, what do you think are some tips?
Yeah, so we used to do the hotel room block, which for me is easier, and people just make their own reservation, and if you cancel, it's kind of on you. But we have evolved now to the point where we see that everybody really wants to stay in one big house,
Right.
or a bunch of connected townhouses to spend more time just kind of hanging out and talking. And you just have to be a little agile, and you have to do what most people in the group want to do. In the beginning, we were using the AOG's resources for registration and handling the money. And, we learned over time that they're far better equipped to handle a much larger group like a class reunion than us. And we needed just more agility, and not the 2-week check cutting cycle, when we have one person on the ground paying all the bills out of her own personal treasury. And so,
Right.
now we're doing Venmo, and we've just gotten a lot simpler. Just the whole KISS principle is really what we use. The last couple minis, our classmate Kay McKinsey has been the treasurer, and she's done a marvelous job.
Okay, great. Near the airport. So you say hotel blocks. You haven't done the Airbnb thing, or are you starting to use the Airbnb a little bit?
Yeah, we did hotel room blocks for like maybe the first 5, 6, 7, and then we started using Airbnbs. Everybody just seemed to want to stay in a house. So yeah, the airport, keep it reasonably priced for everybody, so we're not excluding anyone who might be on a tighter budget. And what else? It's really not that complicated, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised from your perspective.
Yeah.
You guys are put together a 15-year program getting together. So that's terrific. I think as we retire and there's fewer of the life getting in the way elements, people will be more interested in doing these things. And it will be a new skill, right? How do I get my golf group together, or whatever the interest is? Because every classmate says they would love to do things with classmates. So fishing, golfing, whatever. I went skiing last year, and a bunch of 60-year-olds pretending they were 30-year-olds made dinner. Of course it became competitive. Who was going to make the best dinner and who would buy the best wine and all that kind of stuff. So that's how the guys do it. So, but we're doing our ski thing again in February. But the time together over dinner or breakfast, as you guys were telling the story, is really the essence of the experience, because that's where you get to really connect with the classmates.
Right.
Great. All right. It feels like there's another story in here that you guys are all smiling very enigmatically. So
let's give some shout outs if we just kind of go down the roster, because there've been so many great chicks who've been in charge and just did such a super job. So we talked a lot about Bradenton and San Antonio. The next one was Denver, and that was our classmate Monica Wyrus O'Connor, who did a beautiful job setting up things in Denver. Yes. And what I remember most about that is playing. Julie was sort of our de facto MC at the dinner. Yes. Just doing some icebreaker games and stuff. And we did 2 Truths and a Lie, which has become sort of an Elena Hyduke favorite game to play anytime she's at a mini reunion.
I can only imagine.
You have no idea, Paul.
What else? We talked about Las Vegas, Washington, D.C. Chicago was Chris Erbauer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mo was Philadelphia. That was a good one.
Okay.
Yep, Mo O'Brien, Philadelphia. Yep. And then we went to Atlanta, and that was a group effort with, again, Lori Fleming Blunt, Rhonda Barish, Bright, Stephanie Stevens, Levon Purnell. There was a great group of women who pulled that Atlanta gathering together.
Mayor, go back 2019 before Atlanta was Bev in Dallas. That was a good one too. Bev Johnson.
That was
She was the host. She was great.
That was a great one.
And that was kind of our first Airbnb.
Yeah,
she
that
did
was
a great job.
I was going to say that was
Okay.
the first time we stayed in an Airbnb.
That's great. And Dallas is a great place.
Yeah, and I think I'm sorry, I don't want to interject, but before I forget, because Dallas made me think of it. We also have classmates who didn't graduate with us that come. So
That's great.
Karen Bolender was my plebe roommate. She left in our yearling year, and I reached out to her and said, "We'd love to have you come." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know you guys would want to have me there." And she's come quite a bit now.
That's
Don
great.
Don Ripplemeyer comes.
Yeah, Dawn
It's
comes.
always
It's
fun
great to see her. Yeah,
and what she's up to. So, we try to reach out to everyone to come.
Good for you all. That's more of a thing now that ex-cadets are coming back and joining our events, which is great. I mean, they were part of our class for a while.
Of course. Yeah. I'm sorry, MaryEllen. I didn't mean to interrupt. But Dallas
those were great thoughts, Julie.
It flew in my brain.
Yeah, for sure. We talked a lot about Nashville and Brant. Orlando, we had a new crew, Allison Gormer, who is relatively recent to join us. So Allie K. McKinsey and Tanya Lukowiak. What's Tanya's maiden name? I can't remember.
Davis.
Tanya Davis. That was a great one. We had two. We had a quiet house and a party house in a Orlando neighborhood. I joined late. I think I arrived Saturday afternoon. But that was a great one.
It was a lot of fun.
Gatorland, baby.
I forgot my.
Yeah, you got your hat.
Got my prop.
That's a sharp looking hat.
Yeah,
and we had. And
I love. I'm so jealous. You guys get so much great kit. You got flags. You get the whole thing.
The swag has really gotten good over the past couple years. So, and that Orlando, they had a hibachi kind of dinner. Was it the first night? Were you there for that, MaryEllen? I think you were. I didn't think you got there yet.
I didn't get there until Saturday.
And so this dude had sake in in one of those gusher squirt guns, that fire streams of water, and he had sake in it. And every time you did something, he gave you a shot of sake from the squirt gun, which bravo to
worked.
To Allison and
that's the
and
original
Tanya.
Japanese way of serving it.
It was impressive.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if that's how they do it in Japan, but it was good for me. I enjoyed it.
Might as well roll with it. Yeah, it's good enough.
We need to do that again since I missed it for sure.
Yeah, you did miss that one. That was great.
That was a good one. Allison was a fellow quartermaster, so she had that under control. Yeah. And then we just went to Seattle, which was fantastic. And Karen Turner Lee was our host out there with Monica Shepard, but she's got a different last name. What's Monica's last name? McMillan. Monica McMillan Shepard. Marielle was out there also. That was a great one. And Kat very generously hosted. Kat Lee hosted dinners at her beautiful home on the water. And then she and her husband, Alan, have a huge boat that we took from her house to Seattle. So it was just really, really well done. It was, I mean, the bar is getting higher and higher.
Right. And well, that's a question I have. Is there a bit of kind of feature creep, or do you all keep it pretty? I mean, you all like throw in a little more chrome every year, or what do you think?
I'm thinking shelter halves at Lake Frederick in 27.
As long as they bring the squirt gun, then you're good.
Yeah, I mean, if they have the sake squirt gun, I'm shelter half Lake Frederick, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
We know. Okay, the word is out now amongst the class.
Have Ripplemeyer there with the Pugil 6. You can whip my ass just like she did back in the day. It'll be
absolutely.
It'll be awesome. Yeah, I'm still concussed.
Rhonda knocking down targets. Is there any story we have not told about? Well, first of all, this is open to all of the Chicks of 86, right? So anyone who hasn't come in a past event is absolutely welcome. I understand.
Of course.
Oh, of course.
Terrific. Okay. And so, is there anything we haven't talked about or discussed relative to the excellent initiative of the Chicks of 86?
I think we've discussed everything that should be publicly discussed.
Yeah,
I think
good answer.
that's
What do you
probably,
think, MaryEllen, Carolyn?
I do get that subtle point.
Okay.
You're a smart guy, PLAF.
No, it takes a while. I'm smart over unit time. Julie, Carolyn, Emmy, terrific talking to you. I have so admired this initiative through Facebook and hearing stories about it. And the fact that you have done this for so many years really gives a lot of credit to the class and credit to yourselves. So thanks so much for joining today. It was a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
PLAF.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye now. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Courage Never Quits podcast, where any member of the class of 1986 who is willing to tell their story will be a guest. To get the word out and stay up to date on the latest episodes, hit the like and subscribe button. With over 900 living graduates, we have a lot of stories to tell, and you don't want to miss any of them. We'll see you in the next episode.